All right, let's dive into this, huh? Mobility services managers. Getting ready for that interview, right? We've got all this stuff from RoleCatcher to help us out. Career guides, interview guides, even some stuff about their AI tools.
Yeah, yeah, it's not, just knowing the field, right? It's more about like figuring out what this employer is looking for, how to make your skills stand out.
Exactly. So this deep dive, think of it like your secret weapon.
Yeah.
Turns you from just another applicant into, like top contender, right?
Oh, exactly.
Okay, so first things first, what does a mobility services manager even do?
Hmm.
They're kind of like, I don't know, the people who make sure city moves, right? They handle bike sharing, ride hailing, even parking, all that.
Yeah, and actually, one interesting thing from the career guide, the job outlook for this role is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, cities are just getting more crowded, right? They need
Mhm.
they need people who can figure out how to move everyone around efficiently, sustainably.
Okay, so you're definitely on the right field then. But let's get down to it. The interview. RoleCatcher's interview guide. It has some really good sample questions. We're going to walk you through them, how to answer, and even like what follow-up questions they might ask too.
Sounds good.
Let's start with a classic. Describe your experience in managing mobility services. Now, they don't just want, a list of your old jobs.
Right. This is your chance. It's your chance to showcase your skills. Make those bullet points on your resume come to life.
Okay. Think of a specific project, something where you made a real difference.
Exactly. Did you launch a bike sharing program, or maybe you made the parking system in your city way better? Something like that.
Don't be afraid to brag a little.
Yeah.
Put some numbers to it. Did you increase ridership? Did you reduce emissions? Those numbers are powerful.
Absolutely. And be ready for follow-up questions too. Like what were the challenges? How did you actually measure the success of that project? Having those details, that's what makes you stand out.
Okay, let's say they ask, how do you stay up to date with trends and advancements in the mobility industry? They want to see that you're passionate about this, really interested in the future of this whole thing.
Yeah, it's not enough to just say, I read articles. Be specific. Mention those blogs, podcasts, conferences you follow.
Maybe even a thought leader you like on social media, whatever shows you're paying attention.
Right.
Actually, this could be a good time to bring up RoleCatcher too. Their AI, it actually puts together like a personalized news feed just for you
Yeah.
based on your interest.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's like having your own research assistant. It cuts through all the noise and just gives you the most important stuff.
Makes sense. Okay, next question. What strategies have you implemented to improve the efficiency of mobility services in your previous role? This is your chance to show off your problem-solving skills.
Yeah, think about a time when you saw a problem, came up with a solution, and then actually put that solution into practice.
Exactly. Did you optimize routes to save fuel? Or maybe you brought in some new technology that made things easier for users.
Right, and whatever it is, you want to highlight those results, those concrete results.
And remember, with RoleCatcher, you can practice your answers too, right?
Mhm.
And get feedback. Their AI, it looks at your responses, it checks for like clarity, how concise they are,
Yeah.
Make sure you're putting your best foot forward.
Yeah, like having, I don't know, like an interview coach who can really pinpoint what you need to work on.
Okay. Another question. How do you manage and motivate a team to achieve mobility service goals? They want to know that you can lead.
Exactly. It's not just about managing tasks. It's about inspiring people.
Right. Think about your leadership style. Are you collaborative, results-oriented? Give them a specific example, like a time when you led a team to, I don't know, to really nail a challenging goal.
Yeah, and be ready for the follow-ups here too. Like, how do you deal with conflict on a team? How do you delegate tasks effectively? Having a few stories ready to go. That's what makes your answers come alive.
Speaking of coming alive, let's shift gears for a second. That career guide, it talks about certifications a lot.
Oh yeah, the certification,
Uh,
like almost like badges of honor. They show employers you're serious about, your professional development.
Exactly.
And you have the knowledge and skills to back it up.
Right. They're not just like for show. So the guide, it mentions a few that are really relevant for mobility services managers,
Mm-hmm.
project management professional, PMP, certified transportation professional, CTP, and then there's leadership in energy and environmental design certification.
The lead, yeah.
Lead, right? And lead, that's all about sustainability, which is obviously, a huge part of this field. Shows you understand the environmental impact.
Exactly.
Okay, back to the interview questions. Let's say they ask, how do you ensure compliance with regulations and policies related to mobility services? This is where you prove you understand the legal stuff
Yeah.
and that you take compliance seriously.
Yeah.
So do your research. Look into the regulations in your city. Think safety standards for ride sharing, permits for bike sharing, accessibility guidelines, all that.
Right.
And don't just list off the regulations. Give them a real example. Like maybe you developed a training program or you implemented some new data security protocol.
Makes sense.
Okay, here's one that can seem a little tricky. How do you measure the success of mobility services in terms of customer satisfaction and cost effectiveness? They want to see that you get it. It's not just about moving vehicles around. It's about serving people.
Exactly. It's like a balancing act.
Yeah.
You got to make sure those services are meeting people's needs, but you got to watch the budget too.
Right, so how do you measure customer satisfaction? Surveys, focus groups. What about monitoring social media? And then for cost effectiveness, are you optimizing routes to save fuel using dynamic pricing?
Yeah. Here's where you can really show off your analytical skills, how you connect the dots between all those different metrics.
Mhm.
And remember, RoleCatcher can help you practice how you talk about this too.
Right.
The AI, it analyzes what you say and gives suggestions to make your answers, even better, even more impactful.
It's like having like a personal editor for your interview prep.
Exactly.
Okay, let's do another question. This one's about working with other people.
Yeah.
How do you manage vendor relationships related to mobility services? Think about all the different people involved, right? Tech providers, the companies that make the vehicles, maintenance companies. It's a whole system.
And you're the one making sure everyone's working together, highlight your communication skills, negotiation skills, all that.
Exactly. Give them an example. Maybe a time you negotiated a contract or you had to, resolve some conflict to keep a project moving forward.
They might even ask about, how you choose vendors in the first place or how you make sure they meet quality standards. So be ready to explain your process.
All right, let's tackle one more before we wrap up this part of our deep dive. This one is about juggling lots of things at once. How do you prioritize and manage multiple projects related to mobility services?
This is where you show off how organized you are, how you stay calm when things get crazy. Mobility services, there are a lot of moving parts, literally.
Yeah, it's like a giant puzzle, and you're the one putting it together. So how do you stay on top of everything? Do you use, like, project management software? Do you have a to-do list system that works for you?
And have an example ready to go, a time when you had, maybe multiple projects with deadlines all at the same time. What were the challenges? How'd you get past them? What did you learn from that?
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive. We defined the role of mobility services manager. We looked at some really important interview questions, and we even sprinkled in some of those career insights from RoleCatcher's Career Guide.
Yeah, but this is just the beginning. In the next part, we're going to dig even deeper into, the future of mobility. We'll talk about how RoleCatcher's AI can really give you that edge in the job market, and we'll even touch on your own vision, What's your idea of the perfect urban transportation system? Okay, so more of those tough interview questions, right? This next one, it's all about the digital world. How do you ensure the security and privacy of data related to mobility services?
Yeah, that's a big one. These services, they handle so much sensitive information, user locations, payment details, even people's travel patterns.
Yeah.
They want to know that you understand the tech and the responsibility that comes with it.
Right. So brush up on those data privacy regulations, GDPR, CCPA, all that. Be ready to explain how you've kept things secure in your past roles. Maybe even mention, specific protocols or encryption methods you've used.
Yeah, showing that you're proactive about that stuff, that's definitely going to impress them. Okay, ready for the last question from the guide. This one is all about thinking strategically. How do you ensure that mobility services align with the company's overall strategy and goals?
They want someone who sees the big picture, not just the day-to-day stuff.
Right.
Do your research on the company. What are their values? What are they trying to achieve in the long run? And then connect the dots. How do their mobility services help them get there?
Yeah, so if they're all about sustainability, you could talk about how your initiatives reduce emissions or promote eco-friendly options,
Uh,
or if they're focused on innovation, you could talk about, I don't know, using cutting-edge technology to make things better for users.
right. Show them that you're not just filling a position, you're a strategic thinker who can help them reach their goals. Okay, remember those career insights we talked about before? Let's connect those to the interview stuff.
Yeah, good idea. The career guide, it talks about different career paths for mobility services managers. You could go into senior management, you could specialize in something like electric vehicles, or you could even, become a consultant.
Yeah.
Advise cities or companies on their mobility strategies. Mentioning this stuff in your interview, it shows you're ambitious. You're thinking long term.
And don't forget the certifications. The guide, it really emphasizes how important those are. PMP, CTP, those can really make your resume stand out.
They show that you're, committed to learning and growing. Okay, speaking of staying ahead, let's talk about RoleCatcher's AI.
Right.
It can really give you an advantage in this whole process. It's not just about, finding jobs. It's about making sure you're putting your best self out there.
Exactly. Their AI tools, they can actually help you tailor your resume, to match what each job is looking for. It analyzes the job description, it suggests changes, it makes your application stand out, both to, those applicant tracking systems and to the actual recruiters.
It's like having, I don't know, like a resume stylist or something.
Yeah.
Make sure you're dressed to impress. And it doesn't stop there. Remember that interview practice tool we mentioned?
Yeah.
You can record yourself answering those tough questions, and then you get feedback on your delivery, your content, even your body language.
Yeah, it's like having a personal coach.
All
They
right.
pinpoint what you need to improve, help you sound more confident, more clear.
Imagine walking into that interview, not just prepared, but like, you've already done a practice run. That's the power of RoleCatcher.
And there's more. RoleCatcher, you can opt in to be discoverable by employers. So it's like having a headhunter working for you all the time, connecting you with, opportunities that actually match your skills.
So you're not just applying, you're being found. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. There's something that people often forget about when they're prepping for interviews,
Yeah.
their own vision.
Ah, yeah. Thinking beyond just the job description, this is where you get to, show your passion.
Right, what makes you unique?
Exactly. So think about the big picture. What would your ideal urban transportation system look like? What are the toughest challenges you see? And what are some exciting solutions you'd want to explore?
This is your chance to show them that you're not just looking for a paycheck. You really care about this stuff. You want to make a difference.
Exactly.
Look, I know we've talked about a lot in this deep dive, but there's one last thing I want to mention. Staying informed, staying connected.
Yeah, the world of mobility, it's always changing, right? So you got to keep learning.
The career guide, it suggests going to conferences, reading industry publications, even following thought leaders on social media. And don't forget about networking. Connecting with other people in the field, that can be so valuable.
Yeah, you get insights, you can find mentors, you might even discover some career paths you never thought about before. It's like building your own little mobility mastermind group or something.
I love that. Okay, ready to wrap this up. Got a final thought for our listener. Okay, so skills, interview questions, career paths, RoleCatcher. We've covered a lot, right?
Yeah, but it's like, what's the point of all this? Why should anyone care?
That's the big question. It's not just about getting ready for an interview. It's about joining this whole field that's changing how we live in cities, how we move.
Imagine, right? A city without traffic jams. Getting around is easy, affordable, sustainable.
Yeah, where technology, it connects everything. And everyone has good options, safe options to get where they need to go.
That's the future, That's what mobility services managers are building. And you can be part of it.
So it's bigger than just a job. It's about making things better for people.
And that brings us to, well, I guess our final challenge for you.
Oh, I like a challenge. What is it?
When you're, getting ready for this interview, spend some time thinking about your own vision
Okay.
for the ideal urban transportation system. Close your eyes, picture your city. 5, 10, 20 years from now. What do you see? What are the biggest problems? What solutions would you want to try?
Don't be afraid to think big, right? Like, what if cars were optional? Or what if public transport was so good everyone wanted to use it?
Exactly. What would your role be in making that happen?
I like that. So you're not just a problem solver. You're a visionary.
Someone who wants to create a better future for everyone.
All right. So go into that interview with confidence, right? You've got the knowledge now. You've got the strategies. You've got the tools.
You're not just applying for a job. You're becoming part of something much bigger.
A movement to make cities better, more sustainable, more efficient, more enjoyable for everyone.
Good luck with your interview. We can't wait to see what you do.